Hello, and welcome to another episode of For the Love of Sports. My name is Michael Rasile. This is a show where we get to talk about sports, we get to talk about business, and we get to talk about everything in between. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, you know exactly what to do. Like and subscribe on YouTube, 5-star review on Spotify, say something really nice about me, and give us a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts. For my incredible guest today, I have John Kanaras. He is a two-time lacrosse champion, as well as the founder of AXIA Time. John, how you doing today, man?
Great, Michael. How are you?
It's a great day to be alive, John. It is a great day to be alive. Sun came
Indeed.
up. I drank my coffee. There's baseball on my TV. It couldn't be any better, John. And the Mets are winning, so let's just keep crossing our fingers there. But we don't need to talk about the Mets right now. We're here to talk about you, John. I'm very excited to get to chat with you about your career timepieces, Shedeur Sanders. We'll get into all that stuff. But the first question I have for everybody on the For the Love of Sports podcast is, why do you love sports so much?
It's a great question. There's a lot of layers to it. So I think in a nutshell, I'd say it's about connection to teammates, connection to fellow fans, community. But sports has been a big part of my life, a real um, opportunity to learn and grow. I mean, it teaches you sportsmanship, teamship, resilience, dedication, sacrifice. So many elements, that I learned through my experience in sports has kind of paid off for me as an adult and in my professional endeavors. But at the core, it's really about connection. Common memories with teammates, common connection with family members who share a passion for a specific sport or team. I think it's all about relationships and connection.
There's something about it, right? I use this example on the show every time. If I walked into a bar anywhere on planet Earth and someone's wearing a Mets hat, for sure I'm going to go say hi to that guy. At least say hello to that guy, right? So there's something about that tribe mentality, right? That connection that you bring up, the ability for people to find common ground. We could disagree on everything else, but we all can agree we hate the Phillies, right? It's very simple, very easy to understand kind of stuff when it comes to sports, and that's what we always love about it, because it's that simple. It's just always that simple. It doesn't get any better than that, right?
For sure. No, it's a real important point. I remember being halfway around the globe and seeing someone with the New York Giants t-shirt on and, just striking up a conversation. Got a lot in common there.
There you go. Yeah, I got my Michael Strahan and Eli Manning right
Hmm.
behind me there, winning the Super Bowl. That was one of the coolest moments of my life, and I was just in a basement watching a TV. So what does that tell you about me, right? But no, man, I love it. I'm grateful. I'm grateful we all love this crazy thing so much, and it's cool that then we be able to get to work in it, right? Then we get to be able to make some money in and around it. So I am curious. I do want to obviously get to Axia in a second here, but you're a two-time lacrosse champion. What's it like raising, like Eli and Strahan right there? Like, what's it like raising up that trophy? Because there's
Mhm.
always that ultimate goal, and there's only one team that ever gets there, especially in team sports, right? What was it like to be able to accomplish that goal, not once but twice in your career, knowing that that's the pinnacle? You did it.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, and more than just the feeling in the moment, it's the memories that you can go back to and relive the moment, not just for myself, but with my brothers, the guys I played lacrosse with for years, and we sacrificed a lot. We leaned on each other a lot. We counted on each other, supported each other, and to finally win those championships was incredible. And I still think about it to this day.
That's got to be so cool. Yeah, I mean, not too many people get that opportunity, man. So yeah, I hope you still think about it. Do you keep in contact, keep in touch with anybody still, just every once in a while?
Oh,
Hey, man, you remember how cool that
yeah.
was?
Absolutely. Yeah. And actually, it was really the genesis for this company. And the reason I started this company came out of my experience as a college athlete and winning those championships and not having, something cool to commemorate, that experience.
That is okay. That's perfect. Look at you, man. Perfect segue. You're doing
Yeah.
the job for me. I appreciate it. So yeah, talk to me. So I guess at what point, where along the line did you decide, hey, you know what? I want to, I want to remember that moment in time a little bit more. How do I help others be able to do that?
So I joke that this was a midlife crisis. So I played lacrosse a
Nice.
long time ago at the University of Pennsylvania. In my senior year, we won the Ivy League championship for the second time, and we went to the Final Four that year. And that Final Four game actually really was the national championship game because we lost to Syracuse by a goal with 3 seconds left. They played Cornell in the championship game, blew them out. We had played Cornell during the regular season, blew them out. So for all intents and purposes, we like to think of that semifinal game as the championship game. And the university gave us a watch to commemorate that season. And if you go to my website, you can see that actual watch. And the quality and styling of that watch wasn't so great. And so for me, I had this ambivalence about this watch because I love what it represented in terms of, the accomplishment and the achievement, but it frustrated me beyond belief that the quality and styling didn't match the memories. And it created this tension for me. I still have it. I'll never part with it, but I'll also never wear it. And so for 30 years, I just kept looking and looking for a nice watch with the Penn logo on it to commemorate that season. And I couldn't find it. When I turned 50, I finally said, you know what? I'm just going to do this myself. I'm going to start making really high-end watches to commemorate life's big events. And then through a series of real fortunate events, this business was born, and I was a side hustle until February of this year. And then in February 1st of this year, I decided to lean in and do it full time. But it all came out of my experience as a college athlete. And it's funny, that story resonates with a lot of guys my age. A lot of guys have that same watch that I have. They're like, yeah, it's not so great. It's in my drawer. I wish I had something nice to celebrate that experience.
That is awesome, man. Kudos and congratulations for turning your side hustle into a full-time gig too. That's always, difficult, scary, some people might say, but it's awesome that you've been able to do that. So kudos and congratulations there. And it is funny, right? Like, as you said, you love the watch. You're going to look at it every single day, right? But you're never actually going to put it on. So is it a watch? Is it a plate, right? Is it a piece of china that you can't touch anyway in your grandma's house? Like, who cares what it is at that point? What is it about watches? Like, I know, again, moment in time, we've kind of said that a few times, but what is it? Why did you want to go with
Sure.
a watch and not something else that you could commemorate these moments with?
So I'm not a big ring guy, and the rings, for the championship rings that exist now, they're cute. They're really adorned
Gaudy.
with, yeah, and
Yeah.
they're tough to wear. And I'm a watch guy. I fell in love with watches, mechanical watches specifically. It's really the human ingenuity and the perseverance of the human spirit that turned me on to watches. So think about this. About 250 years ago, people figured out how to engineer a mechanism small enough to fit on your wrist that was precise enough to tell time. And without the benefit of modern machinery or techniques, they figured it out. And it's barely changed in 250 years. And so when I learned about watchmaking and kind of just the human element of that, it just blew me away. And then when you put a mechanical watch up to your ear and you hear the ticking sound, it really sounds like a heartbeat. And so in a way, it's alive. The person who assembled it, the watchmaker who helped to craft it, there's a piece of them in every watch. And that human connection, that kind of old school cool, is really what turned me on to watches.
I love it. You get me excited about watches. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think that was gonna happen out of all this. I was excited for the Heisman and the college football stuff, but now I kind of want a really nice watch. So that's a really good way to put it. Though I remember we went to London, right on the Prime Meridian. When we went, they had a whole like kind of
Mm-hmm.
museum there, and some of it they had all like the first watches ever made or sailed across the sea or whatever it was. Not watches, but like things that told time. And they like the
Mm-hmm.
first few
Mm-hmm.
were just they did it, but it was just like they were these giant like pieces of machine. Just like, this is ridiculous. Did you really need all of that, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it is incredible, right? When you think about it, like it is. There's no computer in there. It just tells you the time and it knows how to do it, and it's been doing it for a really long time. So it's
Yeah.
pretty damn cool, dude. I like that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I had this
Yeah, I
experience. So I'm a Greek heritage, and I remember, one of my early trips. Our parents were immigrants, and they took us to Greece and seeing the Parthenon, up there on the Acropolis, and looking at it and figuring that things a few thousand years old, and they figured out how to construct that without modern techniques or equipment. I mean, just the human spirit's incredible.
incredible. I love the human spirit. All right, I
I think
think
you
I
may
got
have
you back. Did I lose you
frozen.
there for a second?
Okay. Yeah. For a second, it was frozen. I was not sure
All
if it
right,
was
we're
my
back.
end or
I love
yours.
the human spirit.
I threw.
It's probably my end. My internet's been stinky the last couple weeks. I love the human spirit. I think it is absolutely fantastic. Speaking of the human spirit, one of the coolest things that I always love is sports. One of the things that you come from is sports. When you decide to create this watch. When you decide to say, this is the avenue I'm going to go down, what was it like? How difficult was it? And what did you need to do to create these partnerships with some gigantic brands, i.e., the Naismith Award, the Heisman ceremony, the college football playoffs? I apologize. I can't say the one for lacrosse, so you can tell us that one. But like, how did you go about creating and thinking through this process of promoting, not only to get in front of people, like to get in front of those athletes that were doing these amazing things, but then to get in front of people that would say, hey, I just want a really nice timepiece.
Yeah, Michael was really quite fortunate. And so a lot of this was, right place at the right time, really good people connecting me and connecting ideas that, were disparate at the time, but made perfect sense when they came together. So I'll just tell you a few stories. Early in the creation of AXIA Time, I got really lucky. A good friend of mine who happens to be the head lacrosse coach at the University of Virginia, they won the national championship in 2019. We still play lacrosse together every summer up in Lake Placid. And I texted him to congratulate him, and he knew what I was doing with AXIA. And he's like, "Hey, would you design a watch for the team?" And like, it was a light bulb moment for me. I'm like, "It's brilliant. It's exactly what I should be doing, celebrating championships, because that's really what you know created this idea for me. Was I wanted a timepiece to commemorate a special time in my life. So hats off to Lars Tiffany and entrusting me to design a watch for the UVA lacrosse team in 2019. So that was the start of this journey into championship timepieces. And then the next fortunate event was at Tewaaraton. So there's a famous lacrosse player named Kanaras. He was a two-time All-American national champion at Notre Dame. They just won back-to-back national championships at Notre Dame. And Pat was a Tewaaraton finalist. So Tewaaraton is the Heisman Trophy of lacrosse. And so Pat was a Tewaaraton finalist in May of 2021. And then in July of 21 is when the NIL legislation went into effect. And Pat reached out to me, not knowing my lacrosse heritage, and said, "Hey, I really like watches. Would you consider sponsoring me?" And I'm like, "I know exactly who you are, and let's get on a call, start talking." So we start talking, and he starts telling me about his experience being a Tewaaraton finalist and how the organizers told all the finalists that you're incredibly special athletes, one of only 100 to ever be finalists for the Tewaaraton. You should feel really proud of that. Obviously, the winner goes home with the trophy, but the finalists really didn't have much to show for being a finalist. And he's like, "I wish I had a watch. Like I could show my kids someday. Yeah, I didn't win the Tewaaraton, but I was a finalist." And that was another light bulb moment for me. I'm like, "Pat, that's brilliant. Being a finalist for an award like that is a huge deal, and the finalists should be celebrated. Obviously, the winner goes home with a trophy, but the others should be celebrated." And so, leveraging my lacrosse contacts, I reached out to the folks who run the Tewaaraton Award, Tewaaraton Foundation, shared this story, and they're like, "Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So, would you make watches for our finalists and awardees?" And I started doing that. So I started with Tewaaraton. Thanks to Pat Kavanaugh. And I was checking with Pat the other day. I said, the Heisman deal really started with a conversation with you in July of 2021. So this thread, carries forward. And the poetic, full circle moment is Pat actually won the Tewaaraton this past year. So not only does he have a watch for being a finalist, he has the trophy to show his kids someday that he actually won the Tewaaraton. But then Tewaaraton turned into Naismith, again through lacrosse contacts and friends and people that I admire entrusting me. They said, "Hey, we'd love to replicate what you're doing for lacrosse and basketball. Would you do it for us?" And sure. So we started making watches for Naismith, and I've got these really cool pictures of me giving watches to Caitlin Clark and Zach Edey. And Zach Edey one's kind of funny because Zach's 7'2", I'm maybe 5'8", so I come up to like his hip. It's kind of funny. And then after we completed those projects, and I decided to do AXIA full time, a gentleman that has guided me through this whole journey, a man by the name of Dave Kirkpatrick, introduced me to Rob Whalen at the Heisman Trophy Trust. Went in and met with them and talked to them about what we had done for Tewaaraton and Naismith, and asked what their finalists received. Obviously, the winner goes home with that trophy, but the other finalists really don't have a lot to show for being a finalist. And I offered to make watches for them, and one thing led to another, and we launched our collaboration.
That's incredible, man. Shout out to Pat, and I appreciate everything he did to get to you to where you are. I think that's awesome for him reaching out. Shout out NIL for allowing that being an opportunity as well, and being able to really take it to the next limit, right? Like I just think that's so cool that you've been able to find your way in a very organic way, right? He had no idea what your background was.
Hmm.
Little did he know you played a little bit of lacrosse back in your day, and you were able to not only get this going through lacrosse in multiple fashions, right, through UVA as well as through the Tewaaraton. Thank you for giving me that enunciation of the word. I was never going to get it, so
Hmm.
appreciate you there. And really being able to kind of start like that, like obviously we make it all the way up to the Heisman. No offense to lacrosse, but like the Heisman Trophy is one of the best
Hmm.
trophies in all of sports. Professional, college, doesn't matter. It's everyone knows it. Everyone's got the stiff arm. We all know it. We all love it. But what is it like for you, like realizing that you got to start within the sport that you loved so much in a very organic fashion?
Honestly, I pinch myself every day. Like, it's amazing to me that this has all happened, and it's happened in, what feels like a pretty, rapid succession. I mean, it's been a 6+ year grind. My wife and kids can tell you that, but still, it's been really rewarding. My vision is to commemorate life's big events through the art form of a watch, and I'm hopeful that these timepieces that we're creating will become family heirlooms. So that connection that exists for the athlete can also be carried forward into generations. And then, the other thing that to me is really special is our designs are very deliberate and also symbolic. So if you see the design that we do for Tewaaraton or Naismith or even Heisman for that matter, there's a repeating pattern on the dial. So for the Heisman design, the repeating pattern is the silhouette of a football. And obviously the football has the significance of being, the sport for which Heisman is being awarded. But more important than that is that those individual football silhouettes represent the individuals behind the scenes that help that athlete be successful. Teammates, coaches, parents, friends, family, like the village that was instrumental in that athlete being successful, because it takes a village. None of those, while they're individual awards, everyone who wins those awards recognizes that it took a lot of other people supporting them to make it possible. And so that's what those designs represent. We try and create that connection, not only symbolically through the watch, but then physically, to carry it forward through generations in an heirloom quality piece.
That's incredible, man. I love it. What an awesome way of looking at it, going about it, and making sure that each of these are very unique to themselves. I think that is absolutely fantastic. So I brought it up a couple times. If you watch college football, you know Shedeur Sanders. You know Shedeur Sanders. He goes like
Mm-hmm.
this. He points at his watch. I mean, how bad do you want this guy to be a Heisman finalist? I mean, if that's not a match made in heaven, dude, I don't know what is.
Yeah, listen, I'll leave that to the Heisman voters, the journalists and the like who vote. Hey, listen, the guy's an incredible athlete, an incredible quarterback,
He
and
is.
he's got an incredible career ahead of him, and finishing up his college career and then in the pros. So, yeah, if he's a finalist, I hope we can make a deal with him. But right now, it looks like Travis Hunter's a bit ahead of him in the early, if you follow the pundits. I think many of them
Yes.
have Travis Hunter out in front.
I do follow a lot of the pundits, and yes, he should be, understandably so. That dude's incredible, just as well. So I guess so. You have these incredible relationships with some of these, like the biggest awards in college sports. How do you take full advantage of these types of partnerships? Right, it's one thing to say I'm the official timepiece of, this is what we do. Wow, that's great, but outside, like what are you doing to make sure that you're taking these to the nth degree so more and more people are finding out about what you do, how you do it, and why they should be purchasing commemorative timepieces for all of their life's incredible moments?
Yeah, so I'll take CFP as an example. So that was a series of really fortunate events as well, and um, and so we were a licensee initially for CFP, but again, back to the vision I have, I wanted to be able to become the official timepiece and make watches for the athletes, the student athletes who are playing in the college football playoff, because for many of them, this will be the pinnacle of their athletic career. Most of those guys are not going on to the NFL, and I wanted them to have an heirloom quality timepiece to commemorate their achievement as a college football player. And so becoming the official timepiece allows me to do that. So I have a really unique design that's exclusively available for the student athletes, and those will be in the gift suite that each of the football players can order if they so choose. So so we'll, from a commercialization perspective, we'll be selling those watches to CFP for the college athletes. In addition, CFP is going to be buying watches for us for other dignitaries and referees. But the real bigger commercial opportunity is the fan base. So we're going to be making watches for each of the 12 teams that makes the playoff. And so we'll have 2 designs per team, 100 pieces per design. So really 200 watches, limited edition watches for each of the team that makes the playoff. We're in discussions to see if we can get the coaches to sign the display boxes. We did a deal last year with Coach Harbaugh. He signed, autographed a series of limited edition display boxes that we sold to the Michigan fans for the national championship. So we'll be able to sell, if we sell out of all of those watches, that's 2,400 watches across the 12 teams. That's a nice piece of business for us if we're successful in doing that. And we've got a number of things in play to help increase the chances of success. And then the one thing that we do from a business perspective and a psychology perspective is we offer an upgrade guarantee for customers. So put yourself as I believe you're a Rutgers alum, if I remember correctly. I've listened to some of the prior shows. So imagine Rutgers makes it to CFP, and you see one of our designs, and you're like, wow, that's beautiful, but I'm going to wait, because what if Rutgers wins the national championship? I'd rather get a national champion design instead of just a CFP design, right? And so we offer an upgrade guarantee so that if your team wins the national championship, we will upgrade you complimentary to the national champions design. Because we really don't want people delaying purchase in the hopes that their team wins. And so we have them protected on the backside that will upgrade them. And so that's the kind of the business of sport for us in selling watches, is the partnership with CFP and Heisman elevates the brand and establishes the credibility and awareness for the brand. And then the things that we'll be doing both on site at the national championship game. So they'll have what's called a playoff fan central. It's like a big exhibition for 3 days leading up to the national championship game. We'll have a pop-up watch store in Playoff Fan Central so people can check out the watches in person. And then we'll be doing a number of other things, sweepstakes, win free tickets to the national championship game, things to build awareness around the brand.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, maybe Rutgers like one day, but I'll buy. I will. How about this? If Rutgers makes it to the playoffs, I'll buy the watch, and I really don't think you're gonna have to upgrade me, so I'm not too worried about it. But I appreciate it, and I will keep
We'll
that in
see.
mind, and I'll tell all my friends just in case. Hey, crazier things have happened, man. Crazy. TCU was in the national championship game a couple years ago. Hell, nobody knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, no, I love it though. I think that's such a cool opportunity, specifically with the CFP with Heisman. What about within lacrosse and within college basketball? Like, it doesn't sound like you have a March Madness deal yet, but maybe one's coming.
No,
How are
yeah, not
you?
yet.
No, okay.
But
No,
we're
okay.
licensed with
But like,
we're
what?
licensed with many universities, and we're licensed with the NCAA, so
Okay,
we can design watches through our licensing deals for those events.
okay,
And right now
okay.
we're
Cool, cool,
not
cool.
as well known as we'd like to be, and so we're doing a lot of these partnerships to increase the brand awareness.
I love that. And so, what else is on the horizon? What are like, what else do we have left? I mean, you got football, you got basketball, you got lacrosse, your first love.
Yeah,
Like, what else can we do? Are we getting into professional sports? Are we breaking out outside of sports? How else are you trying to go and increase the brand awareness here?
so sports and universities is authentic to who I am and why I started the brand. So we're going to focus there for now, and then we've got a roadmap of additional opportunities that we're exploring very actively, and then opportunistically. Honestly, there are things that come our way unexpectedly. So I got approached recently by a government agency to do a watch for them, and just kind of out of the blue. And so we designed a really cool watch for one of the government agencies, and we're in discussions to do another one. What I like to say to folks is, if there's a logo that's important to you, that's a part of who you are, your identity, we can turn that into horological art. So give us, as long as we have permission from the logo owner, it doesn't have to be a university, it can be anything. We can turn that into horological art.
I love that. Maybe I'll tell my job. I'll tell them at my like 10-year anniversary, give me this watch with the logo
Yeah,
on it. That'll be
there you
pretty
go.
cool, right? People could do that. That's
For
simple.
sure. Yeah,
And
yeah,
stop
absolutely. No,
giving
we've
people
done.
plates, right? Give them sweet watches.
Yeah, we've done some business deals where for corporations, for private entities, hospital systems, charities. So yeah, so it's not what's most prominent and what you see, on our website is our universities and even some private high schools, and fraternities as well. We did a really cool project for the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and we've been approached by a number of other organizations to do watches for them. So yeah, we've got our roadmap where we're focusing on universities and sports for now, but eventually I see us going into professional sports, going into law enforcement and this service, military branches of service. We've been approached. U.S. Army turns 250 years old in 2026, and so there's some big
Hey,
celebrations planned for the U.S. Army. So we're going to explore watches for them as well.
yeah, 1776, right? Something like that,
Exactly,
if I'm not
exactly,
mistaken. That number
exactly.
rings a bell. No, I love it, man. That's so cool, and it is. I think starting in sports universities specifically, like that's a logo that's with you, man. Like that logo is with you forever, wherever you go. Right? You went to any school that you have any amount of pride for, that you had a good time at. Right? Like if you have that connection, that 4 years, multiple years for me, it was two, right? For however long it was, like you're always gonna have that. So those types of logos, yeah, you're never gonna forget that. And like I think that's a really smart way of starting it, because that's the logos that people are most passionate, right? Why do you love sports so much? Like that's what we're talking about. But college specifically, you didn't have to like the sports at your college. You just had to like the time at your college to have that logo mean a lot.
Exactly.
People put, the stickers on the back of their car, all that. Why not get a really nice watch? Because you love that logo. You gave them $100,000. Why not, right?
Yeah, and to that point, that's a very uniquely American dynamic. You go to other countries, people aren't nearly as passionate about their alma mater as we are here in the U.S. It's very uniquely American, but it's about identity. And back to the tribe comment that you made earlier about the Mets. These logos represent part of our identity. They're how we show up in the world. And for some people, they like watches, and we're gonna elevate what it means to have a watch with a brand on it. The designs that we do are very different than the other types of kind of commemorative school logo watches you might find in the bookstore. Kind of poor quality, poor design. We really try to elevate that both in terms of quality and design.
I love it. I can't wait for Rutgers to make the CFP one year and for me to buy one of 100 watches or one of 200 watches. It's going to be absolutely incredible. The name of the brand, AXIA. Where does that come from? I know you said it was Greek, and your heritage is Greek. What does this word mean,
Mm-hmm.
and why does it mean so much to you?
Yeah, so axia is the Greek word for worth or value. So if you looked at an item and you said, in Greek you'd say axia, that has worth or value. That's what the meaning of the word, and the reason we selected it is because we try to give a lot of watch for the money. We try to give a really good value. So one of the biggest marketing challenges on how I got to kind of the business of MCR and engaging with the consumer audiences, many people don't know a lot about watches, and so they'll fall in love with our designs, but they don't know if this watch that they fell in love with is worth $1,000. $1,000 is not inexpensive, and so they have to go through their journey and get educated on is this a good price or not. But watch people, watch enthusiasts who know a lot about watches, they see our watches and the specs and like, wow, this is a great deal. Like, watch with this kind of a, case, movement, et cetera. Like, yeah, $2,000 easy. So for $1,000, it's a great deal. So it's this education process of helping people understand the value of what they're getting. And so Axia symbolizes kind of what we're trying to deliver, which is a lot of value for the money.
Beautiful. I love that. Value for money, man. Doesn't get any better than that. And time. Time's pretty important to me and to everybody. But John, this has been absolutely incredible. Where can we find more about you, the brand, socials? Give us all that stuff. I'll put everything in the show notes for everyone so they click on it. But tell
Yeah,
us all those
yeah,
places if you don't
happily.
mind.
Yeah, so AXIA Time, AXIA Time.com is our website. And then all the social handles are AXIA Time LLC. And you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, X. And there's a really cool origin story video about us on the website. You can hear me talking about kind of the origin story that we talked about. And then at the bottom of that page, you can see the actual watch that I got in 1988 that started this whole thing. So there's a picture of it. And then the full circle moment for me was right when we started AXIA Time. Penn Lacrosse won the Ivy League Championship for the first time since my senior year. And you can see the watch that we designed for those student athletes in 2019. So kind of
That's
how it
awesome.
started, how it's going, kind of dynamic.
That's perfect, man. I love that. That is absolutely fantastic. Gives you a real perspective on, hey, this is why I started this. Look at this. This is
Yeah,
why I started. I love it, man. John, this has been absolutely fantastic. One more time, John Kanaras. Did I say that right?
perfect. Yeah, that was perfect.
Okay. See,
That
I
was
told
great,
you
Michael.
after
Hug
like
you.
30 minutes, I forget how to say people's last names. But thank you again, John Kanaras, two-time lacrosse champion, founder of AXIA Time. John, time's the only thing we don't get more of, so I appreciate you for giving me some of yours. Appreciate the audience for giving us some of theirs. But other than that, hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Michael. Go Mets.